podcast of the DMV. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's about we and God we trust. Sir Rod and Lady Z, PTP. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Every Monday night.
Every Monday.
Every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday.
Every Friday night.
Friday.
Every Monday night.
Monday.
Every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday.
Every Friday night.
Friday
Every
night.
Monday night.
Monday.
Every Wednesday night.
Wednesday.
Good evening. Welcome, everybody that's just joining in. It's Motivation Monday here. I'm your host, Rodney Grimes, coming at you. Again, we talk to motivate people. We talk to give out information. If you see the flyer that I posted out, to invite you into the program, you'll see that I have on there the title of the program today is Until Death Do Us Part. Okay. And what motivated me to even talk about that is the Jada and Will situation. Everybody's talking about it. I'm going to jump in, but mine's going to include you and everybody else that's married, that's been married, or had some kind of strong commitment in a relationship. So I just want to start off that, as we move forward, let me tell you something. I'm not trying to really bash anybody. I'm just speaking from my perspective, how I feel. And, looking at this situation, when we are in the public eye, we become like we belong to the public. And so that's even myself as well. And so today, until death do us part. And I tell you, it's funny that is said when you get married. And if we've been paying attention to what's been going on with that couple, now we got so many couples that have been in the limelight in Hollywood. And that's something that we pay close attention to, because when you're in the limelight, everybody wants to see you and know what you're doing. But the real deal is, just because you're in Hollywood doesn't make you any different from nobody else. The same thing that goes on in Hollywood goes on down in the Bird. It goes on there up in New York on the South Side. It goes on in Chicago. It goes on in Illinois, Kansas, or wherever. Same thing. When people have relationships, let's start from the beginning of it. When we start the relationship and we come into it, think about it. What happens most of the time, 90% of the time, it's the guy who spotted the female and he makes that move to go after her, right? Most of the time. But in this day and time, women are so aggressive, if they see something they like, they just go after her or they let them know. I was told by an older lady a long time ago, she said, let me tell you something. When you meet a woman, from the very first time she meets you, she already knows if she'll go to bed with you. That's what she told me. She said the woman already know. And I believe that. I believe that sometimes, you can have that eye connection and get that, that connection right away. We can call it lush. You can call it attraction. You can call it whatever you want. But we already know. And as many of us go through this process, even when we're married, and won't tell anybody or won't say anything, but you would get that person that eye and say, yeah, for real, you can get this. Okay. But when you go to the altar and you make this commitment one another, we make this commitment, and the commitment is until death do you part. But is that really real? Do we really take that serious? And if we do take it serious, what do we mean? Because does that mean that if you don't stay with me, I'm going to destroy you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to make your life miserable, that you're going to wish you were dead or want to die, or make you commit suicide or something of that nature? Think about this. So here, I've been watching some of the interviews, and I go back and watch other people's podcasts as well. I watch certain things just to get, stay updated or whatever the case may be. And one of the things that really, really bothered me and made me think about talking about this today is because even in my relationship, I have to think about what goes on between me and my wife and how we interact with each other and what would happen if we separated and what's going to happen that we stay together. Now, as far as this marriage I'm in, we said we in it ride or die. Okay. And so far that's what we've been doing. But I want to make this clear. A lot of us, when we go into these relationships, we don't really understand the magnitude of the commitment in which you have made to one another. And we talk about, in those vows, it says until death do us part. So I'm thinking about Jada and Will. Okay. And it really bothers me that this woman is she's doing all the talking right now. And every time I've been looking at most of the information, she's destroying Will's manhood. She's destroying his manhood by the way that she talks as if he doesn't have a backbone to stand up for himself, and she's dictating. I was watching an interview the other day, and she was saying, it don't matter. Me and Will be together. And the lady was like, are you sure about that? And she was like, how you know? And she was like, I know. And I thought about that when she was talking with that tone and that aggressive attitude, and as if she was very positive about it. I said, man, she must got something on Will that will kill him if he don't follow through with her, if he don't stay with her, with everything that's going on. Now, I'm this is a podcast. I want you to get something out of this, because I want you to think about when we get into these relationships and we're talking about making commitment and how we move forth. The title is the podcast today is Until Death Do Us Part. So I'm just thinking about that. I'm looking at, to me, for real, I think Will Smith is slowly dying. And he represents a lot of other black men, or men. Let's not just say black men, but we're talking about men, period. Because when a woman decides she want to destroy you, it's very easy for her to do that. She can lie and say you beating on her. She can lie and say you messed around on her. She can lie and say anything she want. And in most cases, people going to kind of side with that woman. In most cases. Now, but in this case right now, I'm sorry. I don't know why we giving this lady that much play. I'm doing this through the conversation just because I've been thinking about my relationship and how I'm moving forth. And I would never, ever want any of my ex partners to do what she's doing to him. And I wouldn't do that to them. And I'm talking about when we talk about humiliating a person publicly and demising him, make him feel lesser than. I understand. What, a week or so ago, she was down in Baltimore, and she went down there, and she was talking, and Will came down there to jump out there to support her. Now, I'm up here thinking, after all that she's talking about in her books and everything, all that she's discussing, and she's constantly talking about they weren't in a relationship for the last 7 years or so. She never really enjoyed sex with him. She really didn't want to marry him, and so forth and so on. What is it that this woman has over this man to put him in a position that he is dying publicly in front of everybody? I'm talking about his spirit, and we're talking about his manhood as we see him. Other men look at men, and we see them when they macho, and we be like, yo, man, you represent, you give us that power here and there. And the same thing with the women, I think, on that end. And it just made me really feel so sorry for this brother. Now, if he is straight up, in a situation and he want to ride and die with this lady and it's until death do them part, you know what? Hey, Will, I take my hat off to you, man, because, if you love that deep, bro, you a hell of a brother. I got to say that. If you love that deep, when this woman is humiliating you the way she's doing, you're a hell of a brother. Now, I'm going to go back because, see, I'm going to not just talk about them, but I'm talking about myself. I have 2 baby mamas, right? I have a daughter by a lady, and I have two sons by another lady. Right now, would it be right for me to talk about them and dog them out when I once was in love with them, when I once had relationship with them? That I've had children with them. Would it be right for me to get into the public and call them names and tell them they're not worth this, they're not worth that? How does that really make a person look? How did that affect a person? Honestly, I realize, like, I have three stepchildren, right? And so at one time in the relationships prior to me, I'm sure that my wife had some feelings for her kid's father, right? But one of the things that I admire about my wife today is that she's never said anything bad about them. She never, not that I know of. She didn't bash them. She didn't talk bad about them. Matter of fact, a lot of times she won't talk about them. Period. And I get it. But my point is that we look at when we get into these relationships and we say until death do us part, and we get into a commitment and say we together forever, and we start bringing kids in and family members in. When is it a line that you don't draw? I mean, cross. Where's that line that you don't cross over? Excuse me, right? When we talk about what was and what we are now, how does that make you look? How does it make me look if I get on here and say that my baby's mamas is no good? They was buzzards. You know what? Buzzards hang out with buzzards. For real, for real. Buzzards don't hang out with crows. So if I was going to call them buzzards, then I must have been a buzzard too. Now, my point I want to make is that in our process of saying until death do us part, we got to be careful, because it's not good for us to go out publicly to destroy anybody. And what I've been watching go on with this couple, and we've seen other couples do it, all kind of couples. I mean, black, white. We've seen Hollywood couples go through it. What is it, Angela and what's his name? The pretty boy. It'll come to me. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Here when they was together, I thought that they would never separate. And here, when they did, it was a big fight. It was a big fight from Hollywood, right? And many, many other people we've seen go through that. But my point I want to make right now is the brother named Brad Pitt. It just came to me. So when Brad Pitt and Angela Jolie, when they were together, I'm telling you, they was Hollywood love couple too. But when it comes down to it and they separate, what happens? We start to bash, or do you just move on and let it be done? What's so bothering, what's so just bothering me so much right now, and that is the fact that here this woman it won't just sit down and be quiet. She need to be quiet, right? Stop making this dude look like a fool. And many of us out there, when you get out of a relationship, remember that at one time when you got in a relationship, ain't no telling what you were doing, how you was doing it, why you was doing it. Most of it did it because we had emotional connections. Can you imagine how many of your ex, you told them you loved them over and over and over and you meant it at the time? But then all of a sudden when things don't go your way, what do? You look at them and destroy them? And do you think about the offsprings who have to listen to all that garbage? And you don't have to be in Hollywood to go through that. What I'm saying is, Jada, be quiet, babe. Be quiet. You want to sell your book? Go ahead and sell your book. But let me tell you something. The only way I'm going to read it if somebody give it to me. I'm not going to buy it. And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I won't look in it because I'm just nosy like that. I just want to, I want to hear some of the stuff you're going to snitch on Will about in that book. And because I can't see you really snitching on yourself. But I can tell you this. We have to be careful because when we say until death do us part, you can kill us without us physically dying. And that's what I see happening to Will Smith. I got to the point when some of his movies come on, I don't even want to look at them. And that's me. I'm not trying to bash Will. I think he's a hell of an actor. It's just that I just don't have that connection with him right now. And every time I listen to her talk, I start to lose the connection. And I start to thinking about my relationship and the relationships I had. I'm not gonna be bashing my kid's mama. I'm not doing that because at one time I loved him. I was in love with him. I may not be now, but I'm gonna tell you something. Back then, it was I was all in. And what happens with most females when they get out of the relationship, a scorned woman is something worse than a rattlesnake. You got to be careful because they will drop you into the pits where you will look like an animal. And this women have done the same thing. Reason why I'm thinking about it though right now, I'm watching this lady, how she's just bashing this guy. And it's not a good representation of the women. I was getting ready to say the black female, but she ain't, you know what, man? She's not coming across as a queen. She's not coming across as a strong black female. She's coming across as a snake. And I'm sad to say that, she's bashing this man publicly and doing it. And I just feel for him. And I just want to say for all of us out here that's in the relationships, let's be careful. Let's be careful when you go and say I do. Let's be careful when you're having babies. You're getting into relationships. Because I'm gonna tell you something. If you ain't gonna really put the work in to make it work from the beginning, don't say until death do us part. Don't say that because technically, in a way, what you're saying is if it don't work out, I'm gonna kill you. That's what some people be saying. If it don't work out, I'm gonna destroy you. I'm gonna make sure you don't want to show your face anymore. I'm gonna make sure you don't want to be loved by nobody else. So, my topic today, welcome to the People's Podcast, is Motivation Monday. I'm trying to tell you, let's stay positive. We got so many people in relationships. I'm talking about male and female that gets in this relationship and you forget how you felt when you first met each other. How did you go about getting that person in a position to say I do or say I love you? And then all of a sudden you want to turn around and talk about them. You should look in the mirror. You was with them. I'm telling you right now, a frog don't like going with a turtle. So when you think about it, if you was with her, whatever she was then, so were you. Whatever she was doing then, so were you. What's the difference? After you get to the point where you break up, you become bitter. But the other thing is you start to bash another person because you want to cover up a lot of garbage. And that's what I don't like about the split up of their relationship. I haven't really seen Will sit down and talk about too much. I've seen some clippings where he said, yo, man, I just can't do it no more. I'm done. And he's even mentioned her name in some of them and say, yo, I'm just done with her. But yet she's still talking about it. And what she's doing now, she's at a point like she'll go on the talk show and talk to anybody that's going to take her, right? And she's going to keep bashing this man. When, let me tell you something. Okay, I'm going to put myself in Will's shoes. First of all, ain't no way that she could really have too much conversation with me after having sex with one of my son's friend. She couldn't talk to me. When I look at her, I probably would just be like, yo, you need to keep it moving. When I think about that, then I start to go back and wonder, what is it that she got on this guy that he's allowing the public to see him humble himself publicly as she goes around and humiliate him? And he still stands up and says, hey, I'm her best friend. When she said, yo, when she was married to him, he couldn't even satisfy her. Saying she still was in love with another man. I'm telling you right now, and I ain't got no cut cards. Ain't no woman that's with me gonna be telling me she's still in love with another man, and I'm gonna be sharing the same room with her. It's not happening. It ain't gonna be till death do us part. Because guess what? The relationship will be dead. I will be gone. And for them to be in this situation, and I'm telling you, a lot of us got to think about this. Don't carry it on. What would be the message I want you to get out of it? Don't talk bad about your baby daddy. You gave him the kitty cat. Don't talk bad about him. And the guys out there, don't talk about your baby mama. You the one laid up with her. Because if you talk bad about her and you want to call her this and that, obviously you was this and that too at the time. Because y'all felt compatible. A lot of times it don't even be about the intellect part. It's just be the physical. And guess what? Some of y'all come together just for that purpose. Just because of the physical. And then you find out the other one's a lunatic. Then you start talking about it. When you made that commitment to come together, even if it was for that one moment or for a lifetime. You got to think about it. And what happens? A lot of it don't die until you do. You're a celebrity, it's going to go down in the books. People will be able to Google it. They're going to be able to go back and talk about it. And most of the people in the family, you already know, we got family members, man, who got some skeletons in the closet and all kind of stuff. But guess what? You got to be careful. You got to be careful. Because when you talk about two people being together, guess what? If something was there. It was something was there that was between them two that caused them to get together. And believe me, when they get together and they behind closed doors, there's things that happen that a lot of people don't know or want to know. And if they did know, then they'd be like, oh man, y'all did what? Y'all did this? You know, right now, I could say to my wife, until death do us part. You know why? My wife know all my secrets, man. My wife right now, I told her all my secrets. And you know something? I sometimes worry about it because just for me personally, some things could make me feel like, you know, I did wrong somewhere. Now, going back to where I started out with Will and Jada. I'm looking at her talking about this guy, talking about their relationships. And I'm thinking, Will, what the hell did you do that this woman is able to talk about you like this? Most of the guys out there, watch how you carry yourself. Watch how you walk. Women, the same thing. Watch how you carry yourself. Watch how you share information, and watch who you having babies by too. Because guess what? If it doesn't work out, that negative energy come in, and then you start to try to kill each other. And it ain't physically all the time. It could be just verbally. You try to destroy reputations. Oh, he was like this, and he was like that. She was like this, and she was like that. Be quiet. Move on and mind your business. Let it be. This thing that I'm seeing Jada doing is really hurting. And it's gotten to the point that I just feel real bad for this brother. And I'm feeling real bad for him because I don't know exactly what's going on, you know, that's causing him to allow her to continuously humiliate him. And he don't stand up and say, yo, go on a talk show yourself, bruh, and tell them the truth. You know, because ain't no way that y'all have been separated for the last seven, I think she said since 2017 or something like that. And y'all don't know what's been going on with each other. It's something in that mix that this woman is holding. And I think that this is part of the reason why Will is being quiet. But Jada, she's taunting him. She's letting him know. She's coming out publicly saying, yo, we will be together. I know this. And I'm like, after this girl just slept with your son's friend, your children is seeing y'all being bashed all over the media, and she's talking that confident. I don't know what you did, Will. I don't know what you did, bro. But I tell you, whatever it is it got to be something big and powerful that you do not want Jada to share, for her to be able to have this power over you to come out in public and publicly say, well, yeah, we were separated, but we were still living in the house, but we didn't know who, we kind of was trying to find ourselves and know, I mean, he went his way, I went my way, but yeah, we friends for life, and it was an entanglement, but we'll get on the red table and start crying. That wasn't no entanglement. There was no entanglement. That was she stepped out of y'all relationship. Especially if she's saying y'all gonna be together forever until death do you part. I'm trying to tell you, you got to be careful, all of us. My whole point that I want you to take away today is this: when you get in these relationships, okay, your secrets are your secrets, but you better not tell none that you don't want to get out. Don't share nothing that you don't want your other partner to put out there, because if y'all separate under some bad conditions, they're gonna do exactly what Jada's doing. They're gonna hold it over you. And I know it's something. I don't care what you tell me. I don't know what it is, but she got something on that man. For her to be able to feel so powerful to come out on public television under all these different situations and talk about not loving him, not being dedicated to him not satisfying her. Oh my God. And it's so funny. I used to have a crush on her. I used to think she was one bad little bum. Let me tell you something. She looked like a burnt piece of toast to me now. I just don't, I just don't feel it. If she would be quiet and just kind of ease under a rock and don't say nothing, and don't put this man down publicly, I might could get a little bit more respect for her. But right now, I'm feeling bad. And I'm saying to the rest of you sisters out there, remember, you laid down with the guy, so don't bash him. And bruh, don't be calling her the B word and she ain't no good when you laid down with her too. Because whatever she was when you laid down, you was the same thing. A lot of us got to get better at this. We come out publicly and bashing, and really what we be doing is humiliating ourselves. And if you're talking about why their children are all out of control, look at their kids. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what their son is. I don't know what he. Sometimes I don't even know if he think he a jackrabbit or a baby bunny. I don't know, because he seems confused. The daughter, she got this real aggressive posture about her, that she's seen something that made her kind of have this type of attitude, like she don't bend. That comes from what you've been exposed to. And now they can't go nowhere without people looking at them and talking about their parents and what's going on. Jada, if I could see you personally and would I interview you, I would sit down and tell you, but you wouldn't want to be interviewed with me, because I the questions I'm going to say to you is going to really, really put you on a hot spot, because I'm going to ask, what give you the right, after what you did in y'all relationship, they got out publicly, to make this man feel like this. And then at the same time, you're going to talk about y'all haven't been together in so many years, and Will got up there and slapped Chris Rock, and you laughed about it. Know that he just destroyed his career. But now all of a sudden y'all wasn't together. Man, he called you his wife. Keep my wife name out your mouth. Obviously, to me, if y'all was separated, he must still was tapping it. He must still been getting in there. Because I cannot see y'all coming out there like that. And him going up on the stage, public on television, and smack another man. You know what I believe? I believe that he was at a point that you had drove him to a point that he had kind of spiritually died. I believe that he died. I believe that he was broken. And that was a lash out. We all have to be careful. When you get in these relationships, even when you get into the point where you want to separate, remember how you got started. And don't bash him and don't get out here to humiliate your other partner. You know something? This is, I got 3 kids. I got a daughter by one lady and 2 sons by another. Okay. And at one time, I'm going to tell you something. I really cared. I really loved those women at the time. And I do not try to go in any situation and belittle them. Those are my kids' mother. Now, my wife that I have now, that's my queen. That's my heart. And how I deal with it right now, I deal with it accordingly, day by day. We don't have the perfect marriage, but we do have the perfect love. The love to respect one another, talk about things, and move forward. I know many times I've made her mad and she's made me mad. But one of the things I just want to tell you, I got to remember when I met her, guess what? I went after her. And whether she admit that she came after me or however she want to put it, we connected. All of us got to understand when you make the statement until death do us part, be careful and think about that commitment. Think about what you're saying. Because when things don't go right after 10, 11 years and they start getting bad, you shouldn't be out here bashing each other. You shouldn't be out here telling lies. I can say this publicly. I don't bash my ex-wives. No, I don't. And there's a lot of things I could say, but I won't. Because you know something? That I'll be talking about myself as well. Jada, stop bashing this brother. Stop making him look like a fool. Sit down, be quiet, and let this thing die out. Now, I can tell you this. I think, Jada, that was a power move. I'm going to give you some credit. Now that all this was going down, and you know that you ain't got a pot to pee in now, right? For real, you don't. So you write this book because you need some money. You trying to keep some money coming. Just my opinion. So what do? You write this book. Supposed to be a tell-all, which I don't think you did. I don't think you told everything. And I think that you wrote this book to be like a bullet. It's like it's a bullet in the gun, in the chamber, saying until death do us part. You will be with me, Will, if you don't want me to expose everything. You will be with me and come to Baltimore when I'm down there and people probably down there wanting to throw rocks at her. And you'll stand up and say, I'm here to protect her because she's my friend. When she said, you can't satisfy her, you could never make her happy. It wasn't nothing you could do for her. Come on, bro. When she married you, yo, she wasn't a mega star like you were. Nah. So, yeah, that's my topic today, until death do us part. I'm just saying, for many of us out there, you got to be careful. You got to be careful when you get into it. You got to be careful. You got to watch what you say, how you say it. Yo, you got to be careful. And a lot of us, when we get into those situations where we separate, yo, keep all that information to yourself. Now, let me say this. I'm writing a book. I think I got it. Let me see. I'm writing a book called 504 Payne Street. So it might be in the other room. And in this book, I'm talking about quite a few things, but there's certain things that just, I won't put in there. I'm not gonna really demise people because of things that went bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell my life story, but I'm not going to bash my children's mothers. I'm gonna I'm gonna talk about the things that were we had some kids, man. We had ups and downs. We did. But I can tell you, it's important for you to know this. When you say until death do us part, remember, people still trying to live. And it's hard for them to move around properly when you're bashing them publicly. When you're talking about them. I know I'm looking for that book. Oh, here you go, right here. I got it. Yeah, I was looking. I got it. This is mine. It's in the works. It's in the works. I'm working on it. 504 Payne Street: A True Story of Abuse, Love, Survival, and Recovery. I'm working on it. But some things I just can't put in there. Some things I can't. I mean, I'm not gonna try to destroy other people's lives based on things because they went bad with our relationship. I'm not gonna do that. And I think that any woman or man that does that says a lot about you as a person. You've been like that you was kind of cruddy from the beginning. If you go that low. I was told by an older person, leopard don't never lose his stripes or his spots or whatever, right? Hey, it is what it is. I'm just saying. When you get in these relationships and you make a statement and you make a commitment in a relationship, you got to be careful when it comes down to the splitting part. And not everybody's going to stay together forever. But when you split up, keep all the drama and all the negativity within you. Don't bash that other person. Remember, at one time you was walking holding hands, singing and la-di-da-di with everybody. But then when things go bad, you want to say, oh, the sex wasn't good. Well, shoot, it must have been something. Y'all got 2 kids. I don't know, Jada. Somehow or another, you had 2 kids. You could have stopped at 1. And I just don't get it. But I do get this. When we're in relationships, be careful. Because when you talk about that person, you're talking about yourself. If that girl you was laying with didn't take a bath and you kept laying down with her anyway, guess what? Obviously, you wasn't too clean yourself. If the guy's unarmed stank all the time, every time he got around you, and you ain't help him get in the shower, yo, you about as bad as him. You can't talk about him after y'all break up, talking about his underarm stink. They ain't just start stinking. You got to go back and you got to check yourself. So when you out here and you have these relationships and you say, especially in the marriage, until death do us part, yo, remember, you got to, when it's over, just go somewhere and sit down and be quiet. Especially for the children's sake. Jada, please, sweetheart, stop bashing my man. Stop throwing him under the bus. And all the women out there, let me tell you something. You talking about your baby's daddy ain't no good? He the same guy you laid down with when you first met him. You just didn't do your homework. So you should feel really, really dumb. You should feel real dumb when you talking about how of a no good person he is. But you let him come together with you in a way that is private, that's special, that's unique. Here we as people come together and we get in these relationships and don't do our homework properly. And then we'd get in there and say, yes, I love you forever and ever. Until death do us part. As soon as it don't work, he was a bum. He was no good. Guess what? He is who he is. She is who she is. If we go back and look at Jada, when she first started out, Jada ain't no different than what she is right now. She always walked around like she thought she was the star of the block, like she was the pebble in your eye. She always had that little thing about her. Always. And I always thought that Will was kind of goofy. I'm sorry, Will, no disrespect, bro. But I just, you know, it's just certain, Bobby Brown ain't never come across goofy to me. Bobby came across like he was off the chain. You feel me? We got certain individuals we would look at and you could see that, he's just who he is. You feel me? So, I'm only talking about Will and Jada because they're in the public's eye right now. Every time I turned around, there was something coming up about them. I listened to different people chatting on the different things that Jada's been saying. And it really bothered me and it made me think, about my past relationships and things that have happened. It's been some rough things in relationship. Let it stay under the rock. Let it stay quiet. Because for real, if you're calling them a bum, you're calling them a crow or the B word or whatever, guess what? They are who they are. And they say this. It said, when somebody show you who they are, believe them. When they show you who they are. So let me tell you something. You could date a girl when she's 15 years old, right? And if she had a tendency of doing some crazy stuff then, can you imagine what she do when she grown and on her own? Especially sometimes by herself and she figure ain't nobody gonna ever find out. Man, she do some crazy stuff. I think about different people from their relationships and how what they do is they try to make themselves look good by telling lies or fabricating a situation. I've had it done to me several times. Some individual want to say, oh, it was like this, when guess what? It really wasn't. And when it comes down to it, you look at it and you realize that these people are trying to kind of like make themselves look better by making you look like crap. She gonna say, well, he never satisfied me. Well, why did you stay with him all that time? Because if that was the case, then all you was doing was pimping him. Jada, was you pimping, Will? I don't know. But it is what it is. People to people, power to power, power to same people. Let me say something. What I'm doing is I'm just bringing it to you, some conversation. It's Motivation Monday. I hope what you get out of this is this. Don't be bashing nobody after you come out your relationship. Let it go. Let it go. Mind your business. Keep moving. Don't, when you with the next individual, don't go in there talking about, oh, they was this and that. Especially you've been with them. If you was with them more than 72 hours, because it don't take but 24 hours to know that somebody's dirty. Especially after you done slept with them or stayed with them overnight. Go look in their bathroom and check out their kitchen. That's one thing I do when I go in people's house. I go look at their bathroom and their kitchen. I can tell you how clean they are. I can tell you. And that right there, when they show you who they are, you already know. Jada, what I saw then is what I see now. I just was blind by the beauty. You got to, if I gave you a nickname, I would call you Beauty and the Beast. And I'm not saying beauty right. Because y'all been talking about me. I already be saying different words differently anyway. But Beauty and the Beast, that's what I would call you. Because, yeah, I used to think you was a dime. But you're a monster. Oh, my goodness. You got on the Halloween suit that you don't even take off. And when people really see you for who you are, it is what it is. Remember, until death do you part, keep your secrets. Keep them things locked in. Don't destroy each other. And to every man out there, right? To every man, put yourself in a position, man, that you don't lower your standards to some point that you won't be able to stand up publicly and put your chest out. I'm not saying you don't make mistakes. I've made some mistakes in my life. A few. Some that I am too proud of. But the one thing I can say is this. I know deep down inside, when I made those mistakes, I know how they were made. You know? They always say is your side, their side, and then the truth. Jada, we can see the truth. Something is wrong with you. And you got something on Will. I don't know what it is, but you got something. I just hope that as we move forward, you know, eventually it'll come out and we will be able to, you know, look at Will with some dignity once again. You know, where he'll be able to walk like a thorough man, you know, not feeling like, you know, he got somebody controlling him and bashing him. Today's topic, until death do us part. Remember when you're in relationships, remember how you started. And you know, they say it's not, you don't have to come in the winner. It's just finish the race. You know, you start the race, you run through it. Somebody may get finished before you. Let it be. I got a few people in my life that did some cruddy stuff to me. And I could easily call their name out and say they did this and that. Nah. Because at that time, I saw them differently. And now all of a sudden, because they're not doing what I want them to do, or they're not around me or whatever, and I want to start throwing mud, that's not how it goes. So just remember, watch how you handle it. Watch how you carry yourself. Put yourself in a position and just don't, you know, sometimes just be quiet. Jada, go sit down somewhere.
It's people to people.
Sit down.
People podcast of the DMV. It's
You know,
not about you.
Come on.
It's not about
Get a
me.
brother a break.
It's about we and God we trust. Sir Rod and Lady Z. PTP.
Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Every Monday night.
Every Monday.
Every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday.
Every Friday night.
Friday.
Every Monday night.
Monday.
Every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday.
Every Friday night.
Friday
Every
night.
Monday night.
Monday. Motivation Monday, y'all.
Wednesday night.